And yeah. We are back. Anyhow, a little bit of technical
Yeah.
difficulties, but we are back. Anyhow, yeah, that substandard sub. Yeah, we was talking about that
Oh,
implosion.
okay, let me give my perspective from a brother.
All right.
He had too much goddamn money. Black folks ain't got that much money to build a damn sub. We barely going out at the beach, far in the water. We be at knee level. We panicking. Okay, too much money, too much time. Okay, two things I've seen happen the last few years:
Hmm.
going to space and then going deep into see Titanic. So the thing about it is, it's cutting corners is not going to work. But all I'm saying is, white people doing too much.
Now think
Stop
about
trying to go
this.
to space and stop trying to go deep in the water.
You
Leave
do
your ass
think
on
about that.
land.
You don't see black people in space. You don't see black people uh, in the water sea diving, except for that one movie.
Which one was it?
What was that one where dude was a deep sea diver? The first,
He was an actor. They don't not
yeah, it was an actor. It was a
real
movie.
brothers
Come
ain't
on.
doing that. Yeah.
And let's see here, skydiving, hang gliding, all the dumb
It's more
shit,
adventurous.
all the
See,
dumb shit. Yeah.
and I ain't gonna say white people in general. I'm just saying white people because it's just a term that we use because I'm a brother. And then we see some shit, we be like, that's white people shit. And then white people be like, I know what,
That's
you
some
know,
white people shit.
them niggas crazy.
Oh, we say
But
the
all
same
I'm
thing.
saying
That's
is,
some black people
yeah,
shit. That's
exactly, black people shit. So all I'm saying is, the stuff we do are within the limits of, for example, the craziest thing we will probably do is get a big ass Caprice Classic, put some 40s on the tire on the car, and drive our ass across the lake or some shit like that.
put some spinners
Drive from
on it.
Louisiana. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
It's just saying when you got that much time and money, invest that money into doing something more. How can I say more? Invest your money in better ventures. I'm like,
Something that could be equally shared among all mankind instead of
exactly.
just
Oh man,
about.
you don't want to cut the corners on going to space and cut the corners on deep sea diving because you think about you got to do the math. You got to do the math when it comes to how you can go with the altitude and how deep you can go when you submerge underwater because you got numbers in there. It's different from floating on top of water.
I mean, I
So it's
understand. I
different.
come from the same place you come. As far as like
Yeah,
going into space, no, you can have that, have fun,
you
enjoy.
got to have experts for that shit.
As
And
far
it's
as going down like to the Titanic in a sub and just looking at a wreck,
Yeah, and,
no,
and
thank
Tim,
you.
don't get me wrong. Whether
I
you black or white, you got whether you're black or white or whatever you are, and you are expert, you don't cut corners when you're dealing with altitude and very
pressures. I
pressures that
mean,
were
yeah, you
pressure.
wonder how many psi you're actually putting onto a sub that was what 2.5 miles deep or
Yeah.
two and a
Oh,
half
even
kilometers
land
deep.
speed. Yeah, even land speed. Going to space, skydiving, breaking land speed, everything. And when all that stuff, you really have to use some engineering technology, engineering science. You have to be smart about it, but you don't cut corners when you're pushing the limit.
Mm.
When you're pushing the limit,
Especially when you're pushing the limit, you make sure your parachute's packed,
yeah, you don't cut corners, and then you still have problems.
and you still got
But this,
problems, right?
but Tim, it's obvious that they cut the corners too much, and then it worked out a few times, but then it bit them in the ass eventually.
Well, that
It's
looks
sad.
look what's happening even in the auto industry when they cut corners now. You've got these what is it? The cars that they can just duplicate the fob, get into, steal like it's going out of style. What's that brand of cars?
Was it? Which one is it?
I can't even think right now.
Yeah, you just can't cut corners
But
when
I
it
mean,
comes
that
to.
comes from why add that security feature when we
Yeah,
don't have
yeah.
to. And
Pushing the limits, you can't cut corners. Okay, that's it. And I just know that from a brother, we don't have that time and we don't have that money to push the limits like that. And I hope that if we ever get the time and the money, we're not going to cut corners
I hope so too.
because you will die. You will die.
Hey, let's get on to something actually kind of positive, Larry. And this has to do. Ooh, let me get our into this video here. what we had going on was a Atlanta teen was actually saved by a group that has been formed on. Check this out. You're gonna love this. This is fantastic.
She was rescued from a Metro Atlanta motel where police say that she was bought and sold for sex.
Tonight, 9 men are heading to prison, including the alleged predator who sold her to dozens of buyers. His name, Stephen Stone. A judge sentenced a 31-year-old man from Lithonia to 25 years. Only on 11 Alive, Cody Alcorn is speaking to the prosecutor leading the Attorney General's Human Trafficking Unit. Cody.
Jennifer Ron, the survivor in this case, a 17-year-old girl found 792 miles away from her home in a motel room in College Park. As soon as she was rescued, this unit got to work trying to track down every man who victimized this teenager. Operation Not Forgotten.
People would be shocked to know how many kids are missing all the time in the state of Georgia.
Not prosecutor Hannah Palmquist.
Chief of the Human Trafficking Unit of the Georgia Attorney General's Office.
Palmquist and her unit team up with the U.S. Marshals Missing Child Unit in the annual operation.
And it's in the course of that partnership that we located this missing child
inside a motel room.
Had been trafficked by multiple individuals, one after the other.
At the Travel Lodge off I-75 in College Park.
We identified Stephen Stone as the person who was selling her.
A 17-year-old labeled as a runaway from Missouri, sold for sex to these men over the course of several weeks. And these predators are just the ones who got caught.
Many more. Many more. We often see on these cases that a child is sold 5 to 10 times in one day.
To men who oftentimes go back to their families.
A lot of our buyers are married. A lot of our buyers have children. Some buyers even have children around the same age as their victims.
While these predators are off the streets for now, Palmquist knows
there's between 1,000 and maybe up to 2,000 missing kids in the state at any given time.
Running from something.
It's always an offer to meet some need that the child isn't having met, and that's how they pull the child in.
Which is why she believes no child should be labeled a runaway.
And I think it's important that we stop making that distinction, whether the child left voluntarily or not. They're still missing, they're still in danger, they're still very likely to be approached by a sex trafficker.
And we've talked about that how many times?
Well, let me tell you something, man, about that. I got two things. You start with your family, okay? For one thing, I hope a lot of times when little girls out there like that, or boys out there like that, a lot of fathers are not involved in the relationship, and it's bad. Okay, anybody can have a kid, but it takes a man to raise a kid to a certain standard. And 9 times out of 10, the father was not there, and the mother did the best she could. Okay, now the only thing I got about another problem, we got pimps and guys like that to do that constantly. They're out there.
Predators.
So
call them predators. That's what they are.
Predators. They're out there. Now, some of these kids have good parents and still do the things they do. And then when they get jammed up, they fall back on the law saying he made me do it. So I don't like that, but I like to hear the whole story and understand her job is to do what she has to do. But you got to watch these kids, because these kids are not like they were when you were growing up, Tim. Now, when I was growing up, they're totally different.
They have a whole different hustle, so to speak.
Yeah, a
than
whole
we did.
different hustle. And then they will fall back. They will be the victim. When they done made all these other people the victims. And now, when you get jammed up, you facing time or whatever, you're the victim now. So I got to watch out for that. And at the end of the day, he's still wrong. If he's a catalyst and promoting and pushing her out there, he's wrong. And he should get his time. Because he should have been like, hey, check this out. I got kids. You're a young girl. You shouldn't be doing this. Let me help you get off these streets.
Some of these people that, well, look at how many times they arrest and they do these online stings, right?
Yeah.
And they set them up, and they involved, working with local law enforcement and other state, federal agencies, perhaps. Yes.
Yes.
And they do these things, and look how many times you get a basketball coach, a cop from another,
Fucking dick.
region. Yeah.
Yeah, you should say, hey, no, stop. I'm gonna report you. Stop doing it. Don't do it.
But there's
Stop.
but
He shouldn't be on
but
there anyway.
they've got an issue. These people that are going to
I want to see
enable that behavior. Let's say enable that, or patronize.
Yeah, I want to see this thing where
Something's wrong with you.
I want to see this thing where guys have females that's trying to do that, and then they say no, and they set them up to get caught to stop doing what they're doing. We don't see that. Why is it not this thing where they have police authorities and local authorities that's really trying to stop this thing from happening? Where
it's trafficking of these
they're trying to stop
these
it,
kids.
so they got girls coming in that's trying to be trafficked, and then they say, "Okay, come in, we got you." And then when they show up with law enforcement, no, and then they're the deterrent.
But don't you see it daily? Missing teen.
Yeah, why don't we have that? We always have the John getting jammed up in the end. Why don't we have and the people catching the John? Why don't we have deterrents where if the mother loses the daughter, she's on the streets, and we got a motherfucker that's pushing on the streets, and then she joins and try to get on the streets. We have a guy, he riding around trying to deter. Hey, okay, check this out. Okay, we'll take you here. Take you to a hotel where it's cops and everybody. Stop.
And I guess you try to identify where there may be deficits in your relationship with your child, that they would have a need to go out and seek it from another individual. That makes sense.
You nip it in the bud, Tim. You nip it in the bud, and if you see it, and a lot of times it's always, and it's Hispanic, black, white. It doesn't matter what color they are. It's like a lot of times the father is not there. Fathers are very, very, very important. Father's Day is crap, I know, and a lot of emphasis is not put on how strong a father should be. But listen, if we build our fathers are better than what we have been doing over the years, we bigger and better than just working and providing. We can't inspire our daughters and sons, so we got to build our fathers up.
Do the best we can.
Them in the household.
Do the best that we can. That's what.
And then we can stop a lot of trafficking. We can eliminate, I guarantee, at least half of that shit.
Probably.
Yeah, I guarantee you. Because
probably. If you didn't have these people out there patronizing, but I mean, that's just a diversion in that. As we said, sometimes I think this stuff is just embedded in our DNA, these different whatever.
Exactly. In DNA, it's the same shit. DNA is
a bitch.
I ain't got no daddy.
DNA's a bitch.
Ain't got no mama. My friends or my gang.
That they sometimes, because I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have psychological disorders that people do this type of crap.
Yeah, there are no positive alternatives to having a failed family. It's always negative alternatives.
Yep.
We always have negative alternatives, gangs and prostitution and this. There are no positive alternatives when your family fails. Because family fails all the time. Families fail all the time, man. Poverty and all kinds of stuff, but there are always negative alternatives.
You know what? And sometimes, and I'll tell you what could be a big fail. I'm glad you said that, and I want to go into this because I came across one other thing, and I don't even have it listed up there, but the Indians, the Navajo Indians, you know how we treat them, wanted to get some water rights, so maybe they could have some clean water to drink and other access to water and things like this. So they took it to the Supreme Court, and guess what happened?
And yet, what has the Navajo Nation so upset is that they thought a treaty made back in 1868 between them and the United States gave them access to not just land, but also water. But the Supreme Court today is saying not so much. The 5 Supreme Court justices in the majority saying that treaty did not require the U.S. government to take active steps to secure water access. As a result, it is back to square one for the Navajo Nation at a time when water access in this state as a whole is at a premium. Navajo Nation President Boone Nygren says he was surprised by the Supreme Court's decision. He said he thought the treaty and previous interactions with the federal government had them on the same page regarding the Navajo Nation's water issues. The tribe has been dealing with water problems for decades as climate change and a lack of water infrastructure have made it hard to access water. Nygren worries about the message that the Supreme Court's decision has for not just the Navajo Nation, but all Indian tribes.
Seems like they really put the ball back in our court. I know it's going to affect a lot of Indian nations all across the country, just not Navajo. That's the scenario that this decision makes.
Moving forward, President Nygren says he expects the Navajo Nation to intervene more often when it comes to water rights cases for not just the Colorado River, but across the country. Nygren says at the moment, many tribal members do not have access to running water and that they rely on wells that have more frequently come up dry.
That almost qualifies for asshole of the week, doesn't it?
Why'd you put that on there? How you gonna not give motherfuckers water? And the Indians, this was they shit here in this country. This belonged to them, the Native Americans.
Oh, I know. It makes me sick to my stomach, honest to God.
The Supreme Court said you can't get the infrastructure. All you gotta do is take a pipe and run it to build something that's gonna
pump it.
water,
Yeah, to pump it to you.
And pump. Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna lose it. Let's move on.
But what's it? I mean, think about that. That was what was that? A treaty, 1868. But you know, the only thing they included in the treaty was you can settle on this dusty ass land.
You know what they say? We gave y'all casinos, but you ain't getting no goddamn water. But the thing about it is, every Indian is not benefiting from casinos. And I know. So and
you have a family and or two that may be invested in the casino.
And they're invested into the government, into the country, into certain.
But no, the entire nation, Navajo Nation, Apache Nation, or whatever nation that the entire nation doesn't benefit from, prosper from one. No.
Well, you know, it goes to show you that not only do black people not support each other, Native Americans don't support each other like we should, like they should. It's go things with the Caucasian race and the Irish race and Indian race. There's a lot of people out there in our country and around other countries in Africa, all kinds of places. They got the rich part and the poor part, and they're not being supported properly. And it just takes simple dollars and cents to do it. It's money is floating around. It's crazy. Piss me off when they do that. I wish I could save the world, but I ain't got enough money and time, and I'm already older, so I ain't gonna live to be 1,000 like Thor, 2,000 or 3,000 years old. I ain't a god. So
you guys study about it was interesting that you bring that up about the Indian Nation, and that happened the War of what was it, 1812, when it came up into the Great Lakes. So it's been like this for a while. And there was a chief that was up in Michigan, as a matter of fact, along Lake Michigan, Lake Erie area, just above Toledo. His name was Tecumseh. And Tecumseh tried to tell everybody, get all the tribes together, saying, hey, listen, Whitey's coming in here, right? Oh, Black too, Whitey, Blackie, and all the other, are coming in here and taking over our lands, right? And if we don't get our shit together, we're going to get,
I ain't gonna say black. Black was with the white because we sold out. We said, okay, we're gonna roll with them.
Yeah, we're gonna roll with that. And so anyhow, Tecumseh tried to get him to do it, but everybody said, you're out of your mind. No, we're not gonna do it. And he had a vision. He seen what was coming, but they didn't listen.
Man, you know what? Black people get pissed off, but black people don't realize that how bad the Native Americans got treated here in this country. We got treated like crap, but we're still built. It's a lot of us. It's like 5 Indians left on the earth.
If Indian nations or whatever,
half a percent. Percentage wise, there ain't too many of them left. And they live
I find it totally sad.
They live in conditions that's substandard in projects. You can find a worse project in any bad city with a bunch of black people. Indians are living worse than that. Native Americans.
Think about it. At least in the projects. And let's say it's a rat hole freaking project. You probably have running water. Your toilet might get stooped up. The pipes might shake. It might be discolored, right? But you've got a place to sleep that doesn't leak. You've got running water. Yeah. These people don't even have that.
The Indians is on Jesus level. They've been crucified. Indians, Jews, Africans. And honestly, the Indians rank number one. Then possibly I'm a brother, so I got Indian, Native Americans, then brothers, black people. Well, I'm black, and then I got to go with Jews. I'm like, when it comes to just mass
Genocide, genocide, and hate.
genocide, and I'm serious. They actually literally wiped out Native Americans, man, and they still fucking with them.
It's the same thing. It was genocide. Come on. I
Yeah,
mean, you know,
genocide.
move or die. You're not going to move. Bam, bam, bam.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, yeah, you think about that. What's that for? Stars and stripes. Come on. You know.
Yes.
So now So where does your morals, values, and ethics lie? And that's,
It lies within a dollar money you can make because it's all based on money, not being in the red. You know, don't lose money, don't lose money, don't lose money. The British started that shit. The British brought it over here, and they started doing it.
that mentality. There you go.
Industrialization and control of land and property, power, and prestige.
When you think about it, that was a Dutch guy that bought Manhattan for like a couple of wristwatches and shit.
For 20 crates of tea back then.
I can't remember what it was. It was just super stupid. Yeah, he bought the entire island of Manhattan off of him. I can't remember. Some Dutch guy. I'd have to look at it. But in any event, hey, let's move on. Anyhow, Larry's a favorite part, the Asshole Award. And you know what's kind of interesting is, in one aspect, we kind of covered this.
Let me tell you what happened. About a week ago, a 19-year-old man from Detroit, he was arrested here in Warren for carjacking and being a felon in possession. But when he was taken to the booking area of the Warren jail, this is when he encountered police officer Matthew Rodriguez. 14 years on the job, the booking officer, and then whatever words were said, something went wrong, and Officer Rodriguez allegedly assaulted this particular victim. Take a look.
This officer strikes the prisoner and takes him to the ground. Once on the ground, the officer delivers additional punches to the prisoner and slams his head into the ground.
And just moments after that, the video shows the officer throwing the victim into a jail cell. Two officers, according to the police commissioner, tried to de-escalate the assault.
One of the officers reported saying, "That's enough, that's enough."
Although the audio was not released and the booking officer failed to have his body cam on, a violation, the police internal investigation recommended criminal charges, which the prosecutor brought, all within a week.
He got baited in, dumbass.
Yeah, the guy was probably running his mouth, saying some shit to him, and he took it all personal. He took it all personal. Maybe, call him a fat ass or a baldy or who knows what was said, right?
And he finna get paid. Because that dumbass.
Reacted.
Psychological evaluations,
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, look how many times they go overboard. We can go back to Rodney King.
Bro,
Cops go overboard. I mean, you don't need to beat somebody's that.
I'm glad he didn't kill him. But I'm like, Jesus Christ, come on.
There's no need for that. You talk about...
Tim, listen, I'm not a police officer. I want to whoop a bunch of motherfuckers' asses. I want to do them just like the officer did that guy. And I'm pretty sure the brother was in the room talking shit. And then the officer was like, I'm tired of this shit. Okay, trust me, I deal with this shit all the time. I'm not even a police officer. But he had to be held at a higher standard. He should have known better. He got baited in. He finna get... It's going to be fucked up for him right now. And people know who he is. The media is going to eat his ass up. I wish it was me getting my ass beat.
I told you I did 23 years, right, in law enforcement.
20 years of getting...
23 years, and I'll tell you what, I never had to react, no. I mean, people got smart with you. I mean, and they say they'll call you names, they'll say some shit, they'll spit in your face, but you still have to keep your wits, you have to keep collective, because you don't know, and keep your head on a swivel. I mean,
Tim, I've been through it too.
Right? I mean, you can overreact towards an individual. I had a friend, he overreacted towards an individual, and another individual came up, put the knife into his shoulder. Yeah. And it's like, that's because you overreacted and you weren't under control.
But what made it worse was he's an officer, he's a civilian. If it had been just two civilians, that should have been okay, because that dude wouldn't have been talking shit to the officer.
Right, right,
That
right.
like the brother wouldn't have been in a situation. The officer wouldn't have been in a situation. The officer's gonna be held to a higher standard because he's supposed to. Dumbass, he got baited in.
Yep.
Everything he gets, he's going. Everything happens, he deserves it.
Yeah, when you lose your job right now, that you're gonna he probably will lose his job. You know, you may do some time in the time in the county lockup. Probably not that county, but then what was that? Warren County, Michigan. That's up around. That's Detroit. So yeah.
It's stupid, man. I'm like, I would love to beat the shit out of a lot of people, but I'm like, I'm not dumb. Even I'm not an officer. I'm not dumb, because if I get caught, I'm going to jail, and it's gonna cost me money. Damn that. It's his whole job, his reputation, everything he worked for. If he planned on being a cop his whole life.
But wait, he might have been trying to think ahead of the game, because what did they say? Well, he didn't have his body cam on, which is also an infraction, but he forgot about the other video cam up behind him.
Well, I don't think he planned on beating the shit out of that black dude.
You think that was spontaneous? A knee-jerk reaction?
It's spontaneous, because I've been there before. Like, it was spontaneous. You can tell. It just happened. He just the little dude was fucking with him. For one thing, he shouldn't be fucking with the big dude. He's fucking with him. And little guys like that are the ones you gotta worry about, because they would jam your ass up. I ain't worried about the big dudes. The little dudes is gonna give you some problems.
Yeah.
He got baited in. He lost. So.
Well, you know, some of the bigger dudes are quite honest too. You know, you look at that. I've encountered some people that were enormous. And, you know, right off they say, as long as you're cool, I'm cool. Like, yeah, well, okay, we'll be cool.
You can tell.
Right.
You meet a man, you read his eyes, and you read his energy. You know who and who not to fuck with.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you know what situation and what not situation not to fuck with him. You know.
Oh, body language will tell you everything.
Yeah, you know. He baited a man and he fell for a dumbass. I hope that brother get paid.
He will be. He will be. Anyhow, hey, let's see where we at here. Let's get into full cams. And I got on first. I'll go real quick and then we'll hit to you, Larry. I guess, you know, hey, what we discussed about tonight, either you're going to be a individualist or you're going to be a conformist. And the choice is yours. You know, you're either going to seek the truth or you're going to embrace deception. I guess, you know, hey, do you want freedom, or would you rather be into a dictatorship where you have somebody telling you falsehoods and things that aren't really true and leading you down the wrong path? That's totally up to you, people. Make your decision.
Make it.
It's on you, Larry.
Hey, real quick, LRE Fitness Solutions. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, IG. LRE Fitness Solutions, we keep you moving. LRE Fitness Solutions, we keep you moving. Check this out. You don't like doing cardio? Find what you love doing it. All you gotta do is for an hour. If you like playing basketball, go to a basketball court, put your headphones on, shoot some shots for an hour. Just play with yourself for an hour when it comes to shooting shots and catching the ball if you miss. Just make sure you move around for an hour, then hit the weights later. So find what you love cardio-wise. Do it for an hour and then hit the weights. LRE Fitness Solutions, we keep you moving. Instagram, IG, and Facebook. Holler at me.
Hey, that's right. Freaking holler at Larry. Damn straight. I holler at him all the time. He don't mind. Hey, anyhow, man, we sincerely appreciate y'all hanging out with us and listening to our perspective on the insane things that are going on around the world. But in any event, Larry, I guess we tell the people until next week, man, peace out. Bye.